All right, well, it is the end of July and our August has started up, and we got our carrier air handler up in the attic. This guy, if we run the thermostat below 72 degrees and we demand 70 out of this system, this produces a lot of moisture. And from what I've been told, these carrier air handlers are known for producing quite a bit of moisture. The condensation up in the attic is, relatively, it forms about here. Sometimes you'll get a little crease of condensation here, and it even piles up a little bit here. And you'll get some small droplets along the bottom. You can see, it's a little wet there. And I would say that is relatively normal, but at the same time, this system supposedly calls for a crossover, which is basically an extra hose of insulation coming back as a return. So that way, if those blend doors over there, the actuators are closed and the fan is still blowing, it's not trapping too much air in here. But I was looking over here and we can see we have a healthy amount of moisture. There's some condensation forming on top of our vents, and my wife had the thermostat turned down pretty low upstairs at 70, and I noticed, I came up here to check, and sure enough, I got moisture, condensation where the air is just barely, I guess it's leaking out a little bit right here. It's kind of hard to have it 100% sealed. And I would also say that the HVAC technicians that we had over here, they didn't set the fan motor, the big blower. They didn't set the speed or try to tune it. From what I've learned, the air handlers have the ability to, allow you to move clips on the actual blower motor, and you can set the fan speed and kind of turn it down or boost it up. And this air handler's done a great job of blowing air throughout the system, but as you guys can see, it's I think right now the supply is registering at 62. I've seen it get as low as 51, and yeah, I'm trying to make sure that we avoid any mold issues, because the last thing I want is to have mold or any bacteria growing excessively that could cause any potential health hazards. But up here on top too, there was a little square that had gotten cut into our duct. You can see here's one of the actuators, and the other one over there. This is a split system, so it's a 2-story home, which makes it a little bit more complex and a bit more annoying to work on for some HVAC technicians. From what it sounds like, they all can be a little bit more temperamental. It's much easier to deal with a single-story home as opposed to a 2-story home. But nonetheless, they don't have a return. There's not a crossover coming over, so I think it's safe to say that I might need to turn the blower speed down a notch or two. I'm not sure exactly how to do that, but I'll do some research, see what I can figure out. If anybody is an HVAC person and they see the condensation that I'm kind of facing up here, I've got a vent there and another vent here, and I have a fan blowing to kind of help eliminate the humidity in our attic, because it is a bit severe, depending on what the weather's like. But this morning I figured I'd jump up here real quick. It's been a couple days since I last checked it. Last time I was up here, everything was dry. Although now I'm starting to pay more attention to these areas, because I did notice that this condensation is starting to form here. When I opened up the air handler on several occasions, everything in there is dry as can be, which it tells me that the air is moving, and there wasn't any moisture buildup on any of the electrical components or any of the metal surfaces inside. So if anybody's an experienced HVAC technician, they've been working with these carriers for quite some time, I'd love to hear a comment on this condensation that's forming, and if it's normal to have condensation forming at these points even though it is kind of just a handful of droplets here. I'm not sure if a professional tech would consider this excessive moisture, but it's not dripping a puddle on the ground here. There's no water damage. This is all dry, but we can see here, there's a couple lines. You can see there's a little run of, you know, there's some little bit of moisture right there. You can see it. And from what I understand, it's mainly just because the air that is blowing throughout the home is nice and really, really cold. And none of the duct work seems to be sweating. All the insulation, you know, it's just dry and dusty. But anywho, if anybody can comment, anybody's an HVAC professional and they want to comment and chime in on this video, please do. I would appreciate it. And before I forget, it is humid today, so the moisture in the air at the end of the day, the attic, it's got a lot of air coming from the roof, and if the air is humid outside, there's a good chance that the humid moisture in the air is also going to cause that condensation to form. So I went ahead and bumped the thermostat up to 74 for upstairs, and it's at 72 downstairs, which seems to be kind of that sweet spot. Once the weather kicks up and it starts to get a little hotter and the humidity drops, I'll show you guys another video of what it looks like and just the lack of condensation forming on the duct connections, as well as the actual air handler on the bottom and all the little drainage lines and stuff. But anywho, I just wanted to share this because you know, it's something I think anybody can learn from. Anybody in a residential home might need to know this stuff, and I'm still also trying to learn myself, so maybe we can learn together, and who knows how many HVAC technicians will jump in and give their 2 cents. All right, so now here we are a few hours later. Humidity has dropped down. It's closer in the normal range, right at about a 69% humidity. Temperature outside is creeping up into the mid 90s. It's bright, it's sunny, it's a beautiful day. Let's go up into the attic. All right, we're back up in the attic, and the air handler is nice and warm. The heat's kind of crept up in here, and so now we don't have any moisture on our drainage lines, which is a good sign. Don't have any moisture here, none along the bottom of the air handler. So basically the humidity level has dropped, therefore the unit is not condensating, but also we're not demanding too much of the system. A lot of people, I think, make the mistake of thinking they can run their house at 69 degrees when it's 95, 100 degrees, triple digits outside. And I've learned that that's just not the case. You're demanding too much of your AC when you do that, especially if you kind of have a unique setup like what I do, where we're working with the 2-story home. It's a split system. It's a little finicky because this is technically a pre-owned unit. And you know, we got this system for $5,000. The air handler, the condenser outside, the whole kit and caboodle, and our friends over at the local HVAC company. And really, I like sharing videos about this system just because I'm still learning, and I think it gives maybe other homeowners, new homeowners, young fellas like myself, but it gives folks a chance to kind of learn about how their AC is working. And lately, the big thing that I've been focusing on, if you've watched any of the other videos that I've done on this system, is the condensation that can form along the air handler, and now looking at the air ducts. And that's another thing here. If we zoom in, you can still see there's a little bit of moisture lingering on the edge of where the duct is meeting and connecting at these connection points, but it's drying up, and everything's staying dry. The insulation is good here. I've listened and kind of studied up on some professionals, and they say that ideally you want to prevent humidity from even existing in your attic, and the way to do that is to literally seal it up. and technically not have ventilation. You don't want to add more insulation, and you don't necessarily want to have ventilation, which is what I thought was kind of what you needed to do. The big thing is you need to just seal off your attic or seal off the space. You need to have it properly sealed, and also have your unit sealed. It's a closed system at the end of the day, and supposedly you shouldn't have any type of condensation issues if you truly seal off and eliminate the humidity in the air. Now, some people would probably argue, well, you can put a dehumidifier up in your attic space if this is where your air handler and your AC system is at, and you've got all these different ducts going up and down and all around. You could just go ahead and dehumidify the air up here with but I mean, you would really have to, close off that vent and close off that vent. And I don't think that's what I need to do. I think for me, during the hot summer months, and this is August in Texas, Central Texas, we're in August, and the heat is going to be hitting triple digits regularly, and really just trying not to demand too much of your system, I think and keeping an eye on it is really the route to go. But if anybody's having condensation issues with their unit, maybe they got something out of this. Like I said, I'm not fully out of the woods. The moisture that is building up, I think, is a little bit problematic. Looks like that even might be a little piece of rat poop. What is this? Let's see here. Oh, that's a bug. Well, that's good. No, hopefully we don't have any rats up here. That's the last thing that I want, because I actually get down and I lay underneath this thing, and I'm always checking for moisture on the air handler, because it really can collect on the bottom. And as you guys can see, any HVAC technicians will be like, oh my gosh, this guy had some serious moisture issues once upon a time, man. He had some wicked problems with some moisture. Well, that was because the drainage line clogged up with the previous homeowner, and they never had any, but they never checked on their AC system. And I think it's important for any homeowner, I don't care if you're a service technician, a mechanic, you need to be able to get up into the attic, take a look at your system, and know what's good and what's problematic. You need to make sure that you can, pop off your lines, take a look in here, stick your finger in there, make sure it's not all gunked up with mold or goop. Some of the biggest issues with HVAC is just simple maintenance. Making sure that the condensation drainage line is properly draining, and changing your filters, making sure you don't have dirty intake filters. Sometimes there's just one filter here, and other times, if you've seen our other videos, there's multiple filters. I've got like 6-7 different filters in my house that intake air for this air handler, and it's a bit much, but it's something I've been just kind of learning about, and I'm hoping to just share this, and hopefully it helps others. But anywho, if you guys are curious on how I got this system for $5,000 and I didn't have to spend 12 to 15 grand, which is normally what a homeowner is stuck paying, feel free to comment down below. I've got my email in my bio if you want to email and connect. I'm happy to be I'm trying to be a resource, not only in my community, but I'm also trying to be a resource for other people that kind of think the same way that I do. But anywho, I'll leave it at that, guys. Once again, this is our carrier system, and it's a split zone system, and I hope this video helps you guys. Give us a thumbs up if you can.